Hopefully. Lounge 253. Marcus Traxler is here. Rest in peace, Lee Center, and then known as TCU at the moment. Charlie Hildebrand is here. Let me make his one appearance. His one. There he is. You're up on camera. Carolina Blue. Beard. I'll give the beard length maybe like a 3.
Yeah, I got a haircut not too long ago, and when I get a haircut, I usually have the haircut lady just shave my facial hair.
Ooh.
because otherwise it's like you got this thick beard with a really short haircut and it looks weird. So this is only like a week's worth of facial hair, maybe 2.
Do they shave the whole thing off, or they just shave it really short?
They shave it really short, and I always tell them I'll go in with a razor and shave it the rest of the way, but I rarely do. I'm just like, man, that's good enough.
I don't know about you guys. How often do you guys get your hair cut, would you say?
Every 3 to 4 months. I don't get it cut that often. I let it grow out a little longer than I should.
I'm probably about the same as Charlie. Travis?
Probably more often than that.
Okay.
It gets quite unruly.
And then this is the Amon question. How much do you pay for your haircut?
Yeah, I'm not paying whatever the fuck Amon pays, $50, $75. I'm paying
I pay $15. Yeah.
I pay no more than $15. There's only so much you can do for fucking hair.
I go to Sports Clips in Morningside, which is the east side of Sioux City. And I don't know, it's like $20 occasionally. If I won't lie. If the lady, I usually tip extra when I give them to shave me. If it's a more attractive lady, there's times I can get talked into getting the hair washed also.
Yep.
Because sometimes I'm a sucker like that. So sometimes it's like $25 or $26.
So, and so what is your strategy? I'm guessing in almost every instance you've got a woman cutting your hair. What is the strategy on like how much you talk to this person? Because obviously, for me, I like
how much they talk to me because I don't want to talk to them at all.
I don't want to talk to them. Exactly right. And so I'm sitting there. If they've got questions, I'll answer them. But it's just kind of like, this is going to be a 10, 15-minute deal. Just cut my hair. Let's be done with it. I've tipped the hairdressers better when they don't talk to me. Like I'll leave them better. I'll leave them a bigger tip just because I'm like, you did a good job. It was fast.
Where do you go?
I usually go to Great Clips. It's probably usually where I go, just because, you know, all my stuff is already in the system. They know how to cut my hair, so that's usually what I do. But I'm just curious, like, well, what do you guys care if you have to make small talk? Because I really don't. That's one of the things.
I would generally agree with what you guys said, where I don't have a problem if there's very little talking. If they want to chit chat some, I'm okay with it. I'm not opposed to it, but there's definitely like a line somewhere where it's like, okay, you're being too chatty now, and I've quit paying attention to what you have said too.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, if they talk very little and only ask like what number and how far do you want your hair cut and do you want your sideburns, like I'm okay if that's all they ask me the whole time. And I'm glad you guys say that. So now I don't feel weird that I'm like, I don't know why they're talking this much. I just kind of want to get my hair cut right now.
You know what? The next time you go there, you could talk about what we're talking about now.
I do feel a little awkward sometimes though, because obviously they're putting 8 hours in, and if they went the whole day and didn't talk to anybody, that'd be a pretty shitty way to go about it too. So you do need to kind of try to carry some conversation just to not be a jerk. But it's something like every time I go in, it's kind of a battle.
It's the same question. You go there and they ask you the same question. I'm sure you probably have the same person ask you the same question.
I would say I rarely have the same person. Just
where do you work? Do you live here? How long you been here? What do you do? You working today? You're not working today? What's
right? Those are the questions.
Yep, those are the questions I always get.
I would much rather go to, and at some point I'll probably change. You know, I'm sure there's barbers in Mitchell that maybe I'd have an easier time getting along with, or making the small talk. But it's just like you go there, it's a different person, it's the same questions. It's just not something I like. But
I think Corinne said it earlier. I just talk to them as much as they talk to me. Mm-hmm. So if they want to be a little more talkative, I'm okay with that, and I'll do it. But if they're generally pretty quiet, I don't have a problem, and I'm not like, okay, I need to start asking you questions now, because it's sports clips, so they also have the TV on like Sports Center or Fox Sports 1 or something. And usually it's something boring in the middle of the day, but it's still like, you know what? I can just watch what they're doing on TV right now.
Nathan Stacken, how often do you get a haircut?
About once
6
every
weeks.
3 weeks.
Every 3 weeks.
3 to 4 weeks. Yeah.
Wow.
Are you in the military, and that's why you need a haircut so often?
My hair
Go
is
somewhere, or do you do it at home?
thick, and I just don't like long, thick hair.
You do it at home, or go somewhere?
Yes, Kelsey cuts it.
Well, fuck that.
Okay, that's a little bit different, I guess. If you're not going and paying for it, like we.
When's the last time you went somewhere?
At least 5 or 6 years ago.
When was the first time she cut your hair?
I'd say a year after we started dating.
How's that work? You say, want to cut my hair? Like, all right, let's go.
Yep. Truth, time, and love right there.
Good. Shout out to my barber in Lenox, Roger. I believe he's still there. I should pay him a visit. I don't know if you had maybe a guy back in the day, but just the inconsistency. I go to Great Clips and it'll be good, and then I'll go there and then it won't be good. It won't be short enough. I mean, you remember the cancer episode? What was it, last year? They shaved my fucking head off. Like, I didn't ask for that. I want my goddamn head shaved, and that's what happened there. Like, all right.
That's why we all have to have haircut records. It's very simple.
That's apparently what you need. And Roger obviously cut my hair for 15 goddamn years. Had no qualms with that. And then sometimes I go to Walmart, and then sometimes that's good, and sometimes that's not so good. So,
yeah,
the inconsistency. I don't know what we can do about it, but very inconsistent around here. Also, something we talked off before Dust V ran the cameras here. Charlie, you wondered how good you were at your job, or how good anybody is at anybody's job.
There's times I wonder how good I am compared to other people, and I think you guys. I mean, maybe Traxler more so than the other two, but I would imagine because all of us have written, at some point that, like, frequently the stuff I read the most is from national people, that tweet out stuff on Twitter that get paid much better than I do and have been doing this for 20 years. And I'm like, man, I don't write as good as Bruce Feldman does. And it's like, well, yeah, of course you don't. So there's times I wonder, like, how good are you really? And then there's just occasions you read other people's stuff and it's like, oh, well, actually I'm not that bad because that person's not very good.
I think we don't need to have this become a writing workshop, so to speak, but a lot of it depends on the material you get too. If it's interesting stuff and people are good interviews, you have to be bad to mess it up, I think. And so there's a lot of times where I just feel like it's kind of set up for me, and that helps. So
we've talked about this a lot, Marcus. I feel like the people in this state in the media who are considered the best, that's a very low bar.
Mm-hmm.
I look at them maybe growing up and I say, oh, these guys are the best. They're in Sioux Falls. They're wherever they're at. They're doing this. They're doing that. They must be pretty good. And then you get into it and you do it. And you're like, Christ, this
these guys aren't that good.
They're not good. I don't say they're not good, but there's a lot they could be better.
Yeah,
and they're obviously not going to be better because they've been doing it for so long. It's bad stuff. Nathan Stacken, you're sweating your ass off. What do you got here? How hot is it? Is it good? Is it decent? Decent.
It's fine. It's very cool in the basement. Very cool.
Ice diaper?
What?
Ice diaper? Are you wearing an ice diaper?
You're not aware of the Amin ice diaper ratio?
Last weekend was an ice diaper weekend.
It was.
This weekend, not so much. This weekend, pretty good. I would take about
4th is going to be a nice little bake-off.
I would take about 10 more of these weekends right here the rest of the way.
Mm-hmm.
It ain't going to happen. NBA draft was a thing that happened on Thursday night. Things went as expected. Really wasn't too much of a surprise. Michael Porter Jr. III dropped 14 to Eamon's Denver squad. What did you make of it, Mr. Fargo? Things kind of went as expected. Dallas made a big trade. So.
Yep. I mean, first off, I think the two biggest winners of the night were Dallas and Phoenix. I absolutely love what Dallas did in getting Luka Doncic and then getting Jalen Brunson in the second round. But Doncic going to Dallas makes so much sense given the success that they've had with Dirk Nowitzki. And then Phoenix.
How unfairly will he be compared to Dirk throughout
very unfairly.
His entire career. Even though they're two completely different players, we're going to play two completely different positions. But then I love what Phoenix did, not only getting Ayton, but then pulling the trade off for Michael Bridges from Villanova after he got drafted by the 76ers. I thought that's brilliant. And Bridges might not be happy to go to Phoenix because he sounded really happy to play in Philadelphia. His mom's the HR manager there at Wells Fargo Arena. So that's the shits for him. But overall, I think Phoenix and Dallas did absolutely phenomenal. And it sucks that the Western Conference just doesn't seem like it's going to get any easier over the course of the next 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, I would just piggyback off that last statement. I mean, you look at Dallas has gotten better, and they're potentially a contender for somebody like DeAndre Cousins, or is DeAndre Jordan a free agent this year too, or no?
He's got like an opt-in deal.
Okay, he's got an opt-in. Anyway, they're apparently going after big. Phoenix is better. Minnesota's still around. Denver will be in contention, I'm sure. The Lakers will be better. I don't know if they'll be a playoff team necessarily. It'll depend on if they get LeBron, of course. So it just seems like, the West is just going to get even more crowded with better teams, and the bottom of the East will suck hard again.
Charlie, 3 of the top 4 picks were big men. Doncic from Slovenia, 6'7", but he's a shooter. You got DeAndre Ayton. He was the first pick. Got Bagley thrice to the Kings. People have compared him to Chris Bosh, so he can maybe shoot a little on the outside. And you got Jaren Jackson from Michigan State. You got Mo Bamba, who doesn't appear to be any sort of a offensive threat at all. So we'll see how
that's a sweet name.
He does. Mo Bamba, and he's long as hell, and he's with Orlando. And people have compared Wendell Carter to Al Horford, so that gets Bulls fans really excited right there. Al Horford, yay. So what do you make of all of these? What do you make, Charlie, of all the big men going? Because it seems like the big men are like the running backs to where they're really not mattering much in the NBA.
Yeah, I was going to say it's kind of interesting that there were so many big guys taken early. Where I don't want to say it's to the point where they're obsolete, but the importance they have is not what it was, 20, 30, 40 years ago. So it is kind of surprising. We'll see, if it was just because it was an extra special crop of big guys this year that were more than normal, or I don't think things are switching back to the way it used to be in the NBA. I suppose maybe the Suns are trying to moneyball everything. Who knows? But yeah, it was the way things have gone. I thought it was surprising that there were, not like one big, but so many big guys taken so early. And like Stacken mentioned, unfortunate for what's his name, Bridges from Villanova, all excited to go to the 76ers, give his interview, and then immediately gets traded. The bright side is Ayton. I don't know where he's from originally, but obviously going from, I don't know how far Tucson is to Phoenix, but not that far compared to where he's going. So
a few cactus throws away.
DeAndre Ayton originally from the Bahamas, and I do believe Phoenix is like an hour or an hour and a half away from Tucson at the most.
I went to San Diego and Phoenix prep school, so he is of that area. It doesn't seem like Grayson Allen is a Tom Thibodeau type player, but was anybody here concerned that he was going to go to the Timberwolves since he went to Utah at the very next pick?
I don't know.
That's the guy that you would not have liked because nobody likes Ted Cruz.
No one likes Ted Cruz's son. But, is this Seth Ogoki or whatever? I had never heard of this
guy. I have no idea who the hell he is. I have no idea who this guy is.
We watch college basketball, and this guy, who the hell is that? Who is this guy?
The one thing I would say as it regards to the Timberwolves draft pick is that, like you said, nobody had this Ogoki down as one of the guys. And I think that's
did they have somebody out there that the mock drafts had?
Well, they were talking about Bates Diop at 20, and that didn't happen, but they got him. That was a good second-round pick to have.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Sneeze.
I
I did see some Grayson Allen, but he just didn't seem like he'd be the fit. It seemed like, and I think Stacken maybe mentioned this ahead of time. I listened to the podcast, Mr. Stacken.
Thank you.
Dante DiVincenzo was one of the guys, and he got taken, a few picks before. And he, I just like that, last year I didn't feel like they did a very good job of addressing their needs. This year I think they got two players that potentially could fit in pretty well to the current status of the team. Guys you could probably drop in and can make some plays. They needed guys who could shoot. Both these guys can do that. They both can play defense. They both got a little length. That's what this team was lacking last year. I don't expect, if one of these guys is a difference maker at all, I'll be happy. But they at least made a better effort, I think, to address some of this.
They can shoot, but can they shoot the 3-ball? Because that's the biggest thing.
This Georgia Tech guy apparently is a catch and shoot guy. He's not much off the dribble, but I'll take somebody who can maybe catch and shoot a little.
Well, that's good because Crawford's opted out of his deal. I really hope they can snag JJ Redick if he becomes available. It sounds
I'm over JJ Redick. I mean, honestly,
you don't want him?
Well, after I wanted him last year, and I guess I would still take him.
I mean, he maybe had his best year last year. He's old, but goddamn,
he is old.
Yeah. Well, he's not as old as Kyle Korver, though.
No. Maybe you can get him. He'll give you 15 minutes off the bench.
But that's what I guess I'm wondering. Which 3-point shooter would you rather? Who will be available? Who would you like to have?
Well, I mean, technically, Ray Allen's available. So Ray Allen's available.
I don't need Shuttlesworth.
My knock, I guess, on Redick was the Wolves were supposed to be in on him last year, and Philly just made a huge offer and blew him away. So I feel like the likelihood of that happening again is there, to be honest, because the Wolves can't spend a lot of money. They basically need to give somebody the mid-level exception, which is what, $5-6 million. I mean, it's going to be tough.
Going into the draft, it looked like Michael Porter Jr. or going into the season, he was the top pick. Within injuries, he played 3 games. He still was the last lottery pick. Charlie, at what point would it have been worth the risk to take him? It seems like Denver at 14. I mean, it came down to the last game of the year between them and Minnesota to make the playoffs. So it seemed like well worth the risk right there. Would it have been worth it for Charlotte at 10 or 11 to take? And they got Miles Bridges from Michigan State. But did Porter, should the Knicks have taken him at 8 or 9 or any other team?
I don't know. It's a complicated question because I just assume anyone that goes to Charlotte or New York is going to instantly be terrible because those teams have not been good. But at the same time, since they've been bad, I feel like you have to do something. You have to do something to try to, whether it's shit. I don't know. I always feel kind of weird about the NBA draft because they seem to get more high on potential than the NFL draft does. And to the point that there's times they take guys where it's like, oh, his ceiling's through the roof, but I don't know if he's actually any good in the first place. With that being said, though, I think it would have been good for either Charlotte or New York to take him just because, I mean, hopefully he can stay healthy, but they need difference makers, and I think he potentially could be one.
Mo Wagner Stacken went to the Lakers at 25. Shamet for Wichita State went to Philadelphia. I had big Robert Williams, a tall sumbitch from A&M, go to Boston.
Out of these 2 picks, who did they keep? I mean, they made so many trades. The 76ers. Who
they kept Shamet? Oh, Sixers. They got Shamet.
Zaire Smith, I believe they got from Phoenix, but
they kept
Joel Embiid.
I'm gonna laugh when LeBron decides not to go to Philadelphia after Philadelphia does all they can to maximize salary space for him. It's going to be fantastic.
You had a run of the old point guards there, Marcus. Carter from West Virginia went to Memphis. You had Jalen Brunson go to Dallas. You had Devontae Graham go to the Hawks. That was good to see all those old bastards go there all in a row. Were you hoping the Wolves could get Gary Trent maybe in the second round? Were you looking at that? or not?
No, I like that they got Bates Diop because he was a guy that was talked about as a potential first-round pick. Nobody was mentioning Gary Trent Jr. as a first-round guy, so I think the value was better.
Yeah,
I know,
okay.
I know, but Gary Trent Jr.'s value was always in the second round, so that would be my observation there. I wish him the best. I guess from an Apple Valley to Minnesota continuity trend, because you already have Tyus Jones, then you'd have Gary Trent. Cool to have him on the Wolves, but I think it worked out okay. One more Wolves observation, if I could put this out.
Mhm.
I guess it had kind of been hinted at that the Wolves could have traded down at 20 and potentially gotten a taker for Gorgie Jang contract at this stage. But they stayed at 20 because they really liked the guy they took. What do you think that's a good decision, or knowing that you maybe could have gotten out of Dang's contract, do you
How far did
reconsider
it fall?
what they did? I don't know how far they would have gone. I would imagine a couple picks or whatever, but apparently that they really wanted the Georgia Tech kids. So I just thought that was an interesting thing that maybe I don't know. That was just something I heard, but I think in that light, if you think you can attract any free agents, and it's not necessarily a given the way Tibbs uses his bench and that sort of thing, but it was an interesting observation, I think.
Yeah, if you want the guy, I guess just take the guy that you want.
He's cheaper. I mean, he's cheaper now if you just draft these two guys. But Gorgie Jang's contract sucks, and everybody could see that coming. But oh well.
I really like the Colin Sexton pick by the Cavs. So I will just throw it out there. What, if any, effect does this have
0%.
on LeBron James staying in Cleveland?
I think it's any. No.
Yeah.
0% because he's staying anyway, Stack.
And I tend to agree. I think looking at it, I think it would make more sense for LeBron to stay in Cleveland for another year, because Kawhi isn't going to get traded to the Lakers. So who knows if Kawhi's even going to eventually get out there. Let's say the Spurs end up, talking some sense in him. Or let's say the Spurs trade him to the Celtics. There's a very good chance there that if he were to end up in Boston, that I think Boston could convince him to stay there. So does it even make sense for him to go anywhere other than Houston?
Why wouldn't the Kawhi Leonard thing? I don't think anybody understands it. I don't know how he thinks they wronged him. I still don't understand any of this.
Bastard.
I don't understand any of this, and he obviously doesn't talk, so we don't know how he thinks they wronged him in this deal.
I just want to say one thing related to the quad injury or whatever. Like, I had read something that it was probably a serious injury. So why wouldn't you put that out there? I realize he doesn't want to say anything like that, but shit, man, leak that somewhere and just say, yeah, I don't feel comfortable coming back, even though that doesn't appear to be what was the actual case, because he could have come back by all accounts. But it's just like he's not doing himself any favors in this whole deal. And maybe he really wants out of San Antonio that bad, but his handling of it has been weird, as has been the whole thing. So go ahead. Sorry.
And if he wants out of San Antonio, fair. But to be a superstar player and you don't want to talk and to go to Los Angeles would be very strange, because he's going to constantly have people trying to get him to talk all the time then there.
Yeah.
Unless he plays for the Clippers.
Well, yeah.
Why doesn't Paul George go to Cleveland? Why would Paul George want to go back home to LA if nobody else is there? I don't understand why LeBron James, for basketball reasons, would want to go to LA. You should stay in the East. Why wouldn't Cleveland bring somebody else in? You got Love. You traded away Kyrie Irving. That was it seemed to be a terrible decision because what you got back for him, that completely disintegrated fairly quickly with Isaiah Thomas and everybody else. So Irving's still hurt, so he still probably wouldn't have played last year anyway. But why wouldn't you bring in a guy like Paul George, assuming he opts out? Why, even though he would want to go back to where he's from in Southern California, Why are we not talking about Cleveland bringing somebody else in? Why is it always LeBron has to go where the players are instead of the players coming to him? Shouldn't the players want to come to him?
I think it's a Los Angeles thing. Like, I think people think everybody wants to go to Los Angeles, when to me, just like you're saying, it makes more sense to blow up Cleveland again, like they do 2 times a year at this rate, and take a run at it again. To me, like there's no guarantee that Kawhi is going to re-sign, just like you said before. So I would try to get Kawhi Leonard. I would try to get Paul George. I'd see who else I can get. This has been my theory the whole time. Like, it's easier to rebuild Cleveland and move things around, because they do it all the time, than it would be to get everybody to go to the Lakers and then still be the 5 seed in the West and try to do something. And the only other thing that makes any sense to me, because LeBron's not going to go to, he's not going to go to Boston.
Houston.
He could go to Philly or Houston. Those are the only solutions that make sense, because he wants to win. I don't think LeBron's at the stage where he's ready to give up trying to win yet, because he's really good at that. Why would he give that up at this stage?
I think there's a money issue, though, in Cleveland with trying to get Paul George or a coach.
Get somebody out there to get rid of goddamn Tristan Thompson. Clear that crap out of your books right there.
I'm just saying. I think that's one of the reasons why that there's not a lot of talk about it. It's just it's a money deal.
Make it happen.
So and
Tristan Thompson bring in new viewers though that also watch Keeping Up with the Kardashians.
They do.
Is it a way to expand their brand and audience?
It's important.
They do.
And Rodney Billups' brother on Thursday night did a nice job of pointing out that Philadelphia would not be a good spot for LeBron, because LeBron needs, like, when he drives in and can't get out, he's going to need to have shooters. Well, guess who can't shoot on that team? Wow. Ben Simmons and Markelle Fultz. So what the hell does that doesn't make any sense why then he should go to Philadelphia. Because who are you going to – if you're going to offer that? But they
what about my guy Bob Covington? Bob Covington.
Apparently, they would have to – in order to create that cap space, though, they would have to cut J.J. Redick, or he's
on a 1-year deal.
$7 million salary, get it off the books. I mean, sure, they could probably re-sign him, but
I think money-wise, any team can make anything work. I mean, Golden State, for Christ's sake, Miami, with what they did. Money-wise, I'm not too concerned about whatever the money takes, because if you want to make it work, you're gonna trade away whatever you're gonna have to trade away. I mean, look at what the Hornets did. They got rid of Dwight Howard, so they can bring back Mozgov and his garbage deal, because Mitch Kupchak is now in Charlotte, and he signed Mozgov to a terrible contract. Like,
you got to get that contract again.
And so why wouldn't you want Mozgov's 4 points a game and 2 rebounds a game? Why wouldn't you want to pay $15 million for that? I mean, if you can get it once, why not get it again?
That's right. Get it twice.
I feel like this is the time where I should say that I can solve all sorts of problems here. This is not the best case scenario for LeBron. It's not the best case scenario for the Lakers. But with ESPN and Fox Sports 1 cutting jobs, I can make sure that they can add 40,000 jobs this year that will last for as long as LeBron stays there. All you need to do is have LeBron go to the Lakers and make sure that Lonzo Ball stays for the Lakers too. So every time LeBron misses a game-winning shot, they can be like, all right, let's talk to LeVar, see what LeVar thinks about this. And him going, my son would have made it from half court and we would have won. Who's LeBron think he is?
Oh,
and we're killing 12 birds with a stone. And I think that, we could be adding jobs all over the United States.
Who is FS1? Who did they cut?
I don't know. I'm assuming they did.
Well, they did. I was listening on the radio yesterday. FS1's been around for 4 or 5 years already. They're still on Fox Sports Radio yesterday. I heard a commercial. Go here to find out what channel FS1 is on. What are we on? 5 years of this shit? Come on. If we don't know yet, we got a problem. And there we go. There's the problem. Why not Toronto, Stacking? Why don't Toronto try to get LeBron? Come on.
I don't know.
He already owns the team. He already owns the team.
He does
so.
own the team, so why wouldn't he just play for him? All right.
Like it.
What happened with the hockey draft?
I don't know. There was a draft that happened.
Gary Bettman gave an award to the Humboldt Broncos hockey team, but because Gary Bettman was the one presenting the award, he got booed, and he had to try to stop the booing, and they temporarily stopped the booing until he gave the award out. Then they booed his ass mercilessly. So good move, NHL. Way to go. Maybe have somebody else give that award out. And they got a bunch of guys that are going to be in the league 3 years from now.
What European guy got picked first this year?
Rasmus Dahlin to Buffalo.
What Eastern European country is he from?
He's from Sweden, I believe.
Good enough for me.
Yeah.
I think LeBron goes to Cleveland. Charlie, what say you?
If you're going to force me to say right now, I don't know why. So, I don't know if I truly believe this. I think he's going to make something work, and he's going to go to Miami. And there's someone else that's going to go to Miami too.
I like it. DeMarcus Cousins, Paul George, and LeBron to Miami. Stacking, where are we going?
I think he's going to stay. I hope he stays in Cleveland. I think he will stay in Cleveland. Just how it all seems to be rolling out.
Marcus?
Put me on the record for Houston here because everybody else has already picked Cleveland.
Chris Paul, if I'm Houston, like I said, I've said it before, if I'm Houston, I'm letting Chris Paul walk and I'm bringing LeBron in. Chris, what's that say? That's a significant upgrade.
I just don't know why you would commit to another 3-4 years of Chris Paul at the max contract, 5 years, whatever it is. That's
too much.
That's insane to me. So
I'm going to slightly change my answer. It's still the same idea, but instead of Miami, I'm going to say the same thing happens, but he goes to Chicago, and LeBron really ignites the Jordan versus LBJ thing to the point where every time he hits a game-winning shot, he turns and does the DX crotch chop. Ooh. The Jordan jersey hanging from the rafters. Also helping save jobs at ESPN and Fox Sports 1.
How about go to Charlotte? Go to Charlotte.
Play for Michael Jordan. Even better.
Then Jordan could actually own LeBron in real life.
But Michael Jordan is such a – what would be like the way to read that? Because Michael Jordan is objectively a terrible owner of his basketball team. So if LeBron actually won a title for the Hornets – who is that better for? Is that better for
another title for Jordan? He can never get
another title for Jordan.
He can win 10 of them. That's 10 more for Jordan. How about
I would love if like LeBron goes to Charlotte to like do this, and then Michael Jordan actively undermines the whole team around him and tries to make it worse, even though he's got the best player. Yeah, I love that.
They're up 3-1 in the NBA Finals, and he makes a call down to the coach and is like, no, you can't play LeBron the whole game. You scratch him the next 3. No wins for him.
Let's go to D.C. Change the world.
There we go. Change it up. What else we got here? We got soccer, so that's bad. Sioux City Bandits. Let's go Sioux City Bandits. Charlie, a big win last night for the club. Where are we standing here?
It was the semifinals of the CIF playoffs where they are now champions of the North Division. They beat the Salina Liberty, who they lost to, and since then they've been on a 6 or 7 game winning streak. Salina had the ball first and goal at the Sioux City 1-yard line with like 23 seconds left. Bandits stopped him on 4 straight plays. Last play with 1 second left forced an incomplete pass to win. So they play this Saturday in the Champions Bowl of the CIF. If, strangely, the team they play, they won't know until tomorrow night when Duke City and Amarillo play, or Duke City in Texas. And if Duke City wins, who's in Albuquerque, then Sioux City will have to travel to Albuquerque, New Mexico. And if the Texas Revolution win, then they will have to travel up to Sioux City. So Texas is playing in Albuquerque tomorrow night, so they could potentially, on 5 days rest, have to go back home, practice, and then drive up to Sioux City to play.
Play at the Pit in Albuquerque, right?
I don't know where else they'd play. It's got to be there.
Is there any chance they could just hitch a ride with Boots in his fucking semi? Any chance?
I think they'd probably have to pay Boots, but I don't think he would charge them very much. Actually, I take it back. He would charge them that they would have to listen to all of his stories on the way up.
Well, you charge them the cattle rate, whatever that is.
Yeah.
So
listen to my stories and pay for gas, and we're good to go.
I sure. Count me in on that. Count me in on that. All right. SDSU football's got some games coming up in the next 10 years. You got Nebraska. They play Nebraska, I think, 20 times in the next 10 years. So home and homes every year for the next 10 years.
Three times for Nebraska, 2020, 2024.
As I said on the radio, I said if there's a presidential election going on that year, they're playing Nebraska. So
not exactly, but yeah. Gubernatorial.
It is exactly right. 2020, 2024.
Oh, yeah,
that's what I said. Every time there's a presidential election,
I've already tried to put out the last presidential election out of my mind, okay?
Oh, you're halfway to the next one here. So they got Northwestern, which is interesting, a new one. Colorado State, a different one.
A winnable one.
And Minnesota again. So good to see I don't know what Minnesota's doing, but I don't know who their coach is going to be when they play that game. But
it's PJ Fleck. You stop it.
Tim
Well, I'm not trying to be a jerk when I say this. How many years away is it when they play?
Is it next year or two?
Next year. Next year, August 29th.
Well, it'll be one of the first.
Okay, yeah. So it'll still be PJ Fleck then.
Do they have to make a bowl game this year?
No. It's only his second year.
Well, shit.
They're going to give him a lot of rope. I'm convinced of that. To hang himself, yeah. It's a
I do like that South Dakota State is getting these games with Power 5 teams from the region. I do hate that they play Nebraska, though, because I never enjoy any second of those games either way. So I would say you can play every team from the Big 12 and the Big 10. Please don't play Nebraska, because I just am I don't want to go as far as to say it was like Peyton and Eli Manning's parents when the Giants would play the Colts. It's not to that degree, but it's just like every play I'm like, well, this is bad for one of these two, so I don't like this.
Be like when Brett and Owen Hart would wrestle?
Exactly. It would be exactly like that.
I've been to both Nebraska games in Nebraska. I want to go to the next one. I like to go to the Minnesota game. I like to go to that one. And we'll see what happens there. It could be a Labor Day Twins doubleheader there right there.
Thursday night game.
Depending on schedules, yeah. Could be that and the Twins and all that stuff. So
Has South Dakota State just played Minnesota the one time, since they went Division I?
Yeah, because one of the other games got canceled.
Twice. Reifenrath missed a kick that would have been quite significant. I think another time they got their doors blown off, I want to say.
I think they only played them once.
Played once. If it was the one time, then it was the Reifenrath missed a kick.
Yeah, it was that one I remember, and I thought that was – I didn't remember if there was another one after that.
Charlie Big Van Vader died this week. What are your memories of Vader?
That's right. I saw that. I hadn't thought about him in a while. Did not know he was an All-American offensive lineman at Colorado. So that was interesting. He, to me, was like one of the first wrestlers I remember that was just definitively a bad guy. I don't think he was a bad guy his whole career, but he definitely was then as this huge guy with this weird mask on that always yelled into the microphone really loud. And I don't know if I ever actually saw him lose either, because I don't think I saw him wrestle a lot. It seemed like he ragdolled a lot of guys back when they still had squash matches. But it's too bad that he's dead. I think there's been so many that have died young. I mean, he was kind of young, but was in his 60s, I think. So, I mean, that's certainly better than a lot of these guys dropping dead in their 40s. But, it's – I don't know. He was on TV more than other wrestlers too. I remember him randomly being on ABC or NBC.
He was on the
shows
what's the one show? The one show.
Boy Meets World. Yeah, he was. I think he was on that more than once.
Yeah, he was the dad of the fat kid, right?
From what I remember, yeah. The guy who went on to be one of the super racist guys in American History X. Although that describes 3/4 of the people in the movie, so never mind.
There we go. Stacking, your thoughts on Vader. Rest in peace.
Well,
what time is it, Stacking? What time is it?
It's 4:46.
It's Vader time.
And I just gotta say, I really thought that the Emperor would not be able to hold off Vader. Thought Luke Skywalker would come through, but
what is this? Is this the thing right here? Yeah, right there. There.
That's Star Trek, not Star Wars. But I'm not saying that like I'm offended. I just know that they're different.
I mean, the Force is tough with this one here, and that Vader had to pass away like that. No more Star Wars movies featuring him. So that's
probably not unlikely.
Yeah, stupid solo movies and all that shit.
Got a trivia question here for folk.
Are you going to give Marcus and I like 15 seconds to talk World Cup here?
Make it quick, for fuck's sake.
Wait, before you start, and this won't count as your 15 seconds, I took a quiz based off what restaurants you like and how you like to eat, and that's who you should root for, and it said I should root for Belgium. Is Belgium still alive?
Oh,
yes,
they're
they
doing
are.
well. They're doing very well.
Amazing.
Nice.
I got Serbia. Did Serbia make it through?
Serbia's still alive.
All right. So what?
Nice setting up
Germany,
that Belgium-Serbia World Cup final.
Get ready.
Germany kind of shitting their pants here. Who's what do we got here?
They're trying.
They got lucky. They got lucky against Sweden. Sweden shit the bed against Germany. They gave up a goal short, like when they had a man advantage. They don't do that, Sweden. And that was like in the 95th minute. To hell with
today's match between England and Panama was really sad if you're a U.S. fan because that was the team that got in instead of the United States, and England pasted them 6-1. So that's pretty heart-wrenching if you're a fan of the red, white, and blue, because God damn it, you should have been able to get into the World Cup over Panama, for God's sakes.
Does David Beckham still play for England?
No, he does not.
My Iceland squad still has a chance. They just need to beat Croatia 2-0 and have Argentina beat Nigeria 2-0, and they'll get in.
I'm not sure that's going to happen.
I doubt it too. Fucking Iceland.
Because of all this talk, which I'm against, Charlie gets to go first in trivia here.
I don't care. That's fine.
Just to make things fair and balanced.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you, Fox News?
Yes, we are. Stacking, you've got a kid, right?
I do. He might even be making an appearance on the show later. We'll see.
Oh,
Good.
boy.
Good. What shows does this kid like? Or what shows are you forcing him to watch? Are you forcing him to watch the 98 Vikings, or what do we got here?
Nope.
Randy Moss highlights on YouTube every day.
How about the 95 Cornhuskers team here?
We haven't gone into the cartoon or the kids shows quite yet, so we're just right now getting them fixated on Law and Order SVU and Criminal Minds. And
Do you feel like
CSI.
you got a kid here? You can shape this kid. You can do the normal thing or whatever, and you can be a normal kid. You can shape him in such a way.
I think Daniel Tiger will be making an appearance here at some point. We'll see about Winnie the Pooh.
Who the hell is that?
Daniel Tiger? I don't know. It's what all the young kids watch.
So when you have a kid, you get reintroduced to whatever this bullshit is on the TV now.
Well, no. See, we also have Dish, so we have Boomerang. So I
That's
guarantee
the old stuff.
we will be watching some Jetsons, some Flintstones,
Yogi
Tom and
Bear.
Jerry. Yeah, Yogi Bear. Yep, the Scooby Doo. That definitely is good. Courage the Cowardly Dog. That's all.
Man, when Scooby-Doo and the gang meet the Globetrotters, he's going to be excited.
God, I hate that one. You know what? Scooby Doo just.
You hate that one?
I'm
Wow.
not a fan. No, I'm not a
Racist,
fan.
Stacking.
No, I'm not. Like that one's okay in the grand scheme of things, but whenever they introduce stupid Scrappy Doo, God dang, he just was.
Wow, there's a lot of anger pent up here. A lot of anger.
I just hate Scrappy.
Stacking, who do you hate more, Scrappy-Doo or LeVar Ball?
Oh, LeVar, it's not even a
Is that
question.
like his kid? Or who's that supposed
I
to be?
was so happy to hear the Lakers say, "No, Leangelo, you aren't getting an invitation here." Fuck.
Is that
you.
like his kid, or who's that supposed to be? Scrappy Doo.
Yeah, it's where Scooby Doo has to step in because he is the legitimate father of Scrappy. It's a very complicated marriage. He basically has half custody because of a messy divorce. So yeah, it's a pretty sour storyline. It's good that they don't get into a lot, but yeah.
Got divorced, too many Scooby snacks, fell off the wagon too many times.
He's got to pay alimony. It's rough.
This is the real life Bart Cologne story right here. Essentially.
What's that?
Because he had the fake. Everybody likes this tumor with legs out there pitching, but he had like a fake family and all this stuff, and like nobody cares because
he took PEDs. He'd be in the Hall of Fame otherwise.
Yeah, we'll talk about that later. Any old movie stacking you want to bring? Do you have maybe your collection from a kid? You want to show him these goddamn films here?
I mean, I think we'll definitely show him, something like Aladdin, and introduce some of the old Disney classics.
Careful, if you show him Mighty Ducks 2, he'll hate Iceland because they're the bad guys in D2.
Also Lion King. Think about that. Pretty dark movie.
It is.
I love that movie, but it's dark.
Yeah, it's basically just some Shakespeare play. I don't remember which one, but
well, it's like, hey, this kid's dad's gonna die, and he's got to stand up.
They don't spoil the goddamn movie here, geez.
The parents die in almost every Disney movie.
Haunting.
I was always an Aladdin guy myself. That one was my favorite. Granted, part of it was it came out when I was like first grade, so.
Stronger than 10 handsome young men, lovely to see.
Very good.
Galloping woods. 100 young bad guys with swords.
Good.
All
good.
right, let's cancel the show. Cancel it.
40. I'm going to go from the first Disney movie was in 1937.
Oh boy.
Nice for doing Disney movies.
We're going to go. We're going to go the first 40 Disney movies. The latest being 2000. So anything 2001 and before, we don't care about.
You mean 2001 and after?
2001 and more current, yes. They've got, so I don't give a shit about those. They're redoing the Lion King, so that's coming out, I think, next year.
You don't care about Frozen? That's a shame.
I don't give a shit. So the first 40 Disney films released. This can get a little tricky because you may answer with some of these, but some of these were actually maybe straight to video. Some were maybe sequels to movies that were straight to video. So
point of clarification.
So we're only going with ones that were released in the theaters then.
Yes, it's kind of what we want here.
I like that.
This is going to be tough.
Point of clarification here. Are these all animated movies or do we include...
Well, it is the Disney animated, let's see here. Disney Animation Studios. So yes, we're looking at animation.
So no Huckleberry Finn or anything like that.
So Parent Trap is not on there. No Lindsay Lohan.
Not unless they made an animated one.
So from 2000 to 1937, they had 40 movies that they had, a lot that were that we've seen, I'm sure. So Charlie, start us off here. We'll figure out what the rules are when we go.
Just to be fancy, I'll start off with what I think is the first one, and I will say Snow White and the Six Dwarves and the extra dwarf that has a doctorate degree.
That was the first one, December 21st, right before Christmas, 1937. Go to your local.
Before World War II started.
That is a long time ago.
The original Snow White and Six Dwarves plus another guy that had.
Also a very long title. I mean, like too long of a title, I'd say, in that instance.
So there you go. Marcus, you're up next.
I will go with Bambi.
Bambi, that was number 5 here. Bambi was released in the midst of the war on a nice April afternoon, 1942. Bambi, the 5th Disney
Anyone
film.
else, as a super young child, didn't like watching his mom get shot and was really sad when it happened?
It sucked.
I didn't like, as like a 4-year-old, I didn't like watching that part.
So goddamn you.
Because it made me think that my mom was going to get shot and die.
Crossing our fingers. Hasn't happened yet.
Wow.
Hasn't happened yet. Stacking?
Fantasia.
Fantasia. I suppose I'll give it to you.
Wow. He's going to count that.
What?
19,
Because I was going to say, I didn't know if that was one that was released in the theaters or if that
yeah,
was.
it was 1940. That was the
Oh,
third.
yeah, it was 1940. There was
We got
no
the-
video in 1940.
The
No
first,
streaming video.
third, and fifth. So we knocked out some of the early ones here. Charlie.
Let's see. I will go with Cinderella.
Cinderella. Yep, that was in 1950, the 12th movie released.
A
Cinderella.
movie that proves that sometimes rodents that carry diseases can be better to you than your family is.
Good. Go mice. The mice were good. Dentist.
I'll go with Pinocchio with a long
Nope.
nose.
Pinocchio was number 2. 3 years, a little over 2 years after the first movie. We made Pinocchio.
Fox and the Hound.
Owen Fox and the Hound. It's on here. I gotta find it. Where are you at? 70s, I believe. 1981. Fox and the Hound was a movie.
In the midst of the Cold War.
That's right. Breaking the Russians.
You're my friend. You're mine too, Todd.
Todd's
What
good.
did Stacking just say?
Todd was the name of the fox, right?
Todd, yeah, I believe so. You're mine too, Todd. We'll always be friends forever.
Oh,
What was the
man.
name of the dog?
Oh God, I can't remember.
The Hound.
The Hound.
They just called him the Hound, and then they what wrestling storyline Charlie was like Fox and the Hound?
Honestly, I know
Oh,
what
Michael.
the Fox and the Hound is. I don't remember anything about that one
Where
specifically.
they're friends when they're little, but then they got to be enemies because they got to shoot the fox. But then at the end, they become friends again. And
Well, it
Shawn,
sounds like Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty, right?
and Triple H. I think Shawn Michaels, Triple H, they're buddies, and they fight, and they end up buddies again. Very good.
Really, Shawn Michaels and almost anybody in professional wrestling.
Shawn Michaels and friends, enemies, and there you go. Charlie, you're up next.
I will go with Sleeping Beauty.
Sleeping Beauty. Where is it at here, folks? Well, shit.
Did we get a strike?
I don't know how this is going to work. 1959 it was released. It was a movie, yes. January of 59.
My turn.
Marcus?
Peter Pan.
Peter Pan? Peter
Movie
Pan?
that showed smoking's okay for kids sometimes.
Little shit, Peter Pan, 1953. It was released. 14th movie.
I did really like Peter Pan when I was a little kid.
I liked it.
Let's go with the Jungle Book.
Ooh, one of the good ones, folks. One of the good motherfuckers. 1967, The Jungle Book. Count it. And one.
I will go with
little note on the Jungle Book. They had the little thing before the Jungle Book, maybe the little cartoon before it. It was Scrooge McDuck and Money, is what it was called.
So that's where they invented the thing where he jumps into his vault full of gold and swims around or whatever, maybe.
Animated short. What a deal right there. 16-minute thing before the movie started. Big fan of that. We're all 3 for 3.
I will go with the story of Stacken's marriage and say Beauty and the Beast.
What a shot. What a shot.
I'm going to tell Kelsey that you think she's a thief.
Ooh, well played there, Stacken. Well played. Actually, I think you're Gaston, and then whoever. I'm just kidding.
New game for next week. Come up with movie titles that explain Stacken's marriage.
He's just not that into you.
Oh, coming out hot.
Just kidding again, Stacken. That was the first one I could think of that had something to do with the relationship in the title.
They cheaper by the dozen too.
1991. We remember that movie, Beauty and the Beast. 91. Marcus, when's your birthday?
1991. I mean,
What's the specifics on this birthday?
August 2.
November 22nd. So you're seeing it's Christmas time, maybe Thanksgiving time.
Yeah.
I remember seeing Beauty and the Beast in the theaters
1991. I was almost 4.
as a young child. I think I was 5.
I used to have. I feel like this will benefit me as this game wears on. But I had a very robust VHS collection of
With the
so
good
many
boxes.
movies.
The good boxes.
As
With
did
like
I.
the plastic boxes, yeah,
Yes.
the ones that, yeah. So
Keep that shit. You keep that shit there.
What my mom did is she just took the cardboard box and cut off the side and then just taped it to the back of the VHS tape. So you didn't have to keep the box it was in, but you wouldn't have to look at the front. And then we couldn't read as, 4-year-olds or whatever. But you could tell by the picture on the side what one it was.
It was.
wow,
There's some work there. Marcus?
this is a good filibuster right before it's my turn too.
I mean,
I
you
will
got
go-
Giants Padres 1-1 in the 8th there. Giants.
I am not watching that.
I won this week, by the way.
You're in first. You were in first.
First place, I will go with 101 Dalmatians.
101 dogs.
This is twice now you've sniped my answers.
You're welcome.
Good one. The movie that proves that people that are into fashion can be terrible people also.
How many dogs is 2 dogs? The 101's too many. 1961 was when that was conceived, I suppose.
All right, let's start with Aladdin then.
Let's start with one of Sakin's big ones. Aladdin. Aladdin. How do you spell that, Sakin?
Laaddin.
It was the year after the Beauty and the Beast. It was Beauty and the Beast in 91, Aladdin, Thanksgiving of 92.
I remember seeing that in the theaters too. Now, granted, I'm going to quit saying that because I could probably say that about almost everyone in the 90s because I was a kid and I remember seeing some of them.
Who we got? Charlie's up next.
I will go with The Leon King.
Lion King was the next movie. They took 93 off for whatever reason. Lion King was the summer of 94. It was a big goddamn deal.
You can't make too many hits,
You can't make too many. Now, is there, I don't know here, we'll see. Is there a better threesome in a row there? Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, Lion King.
It's pretty good.
Maybe biased from my perspective, but
but just written with bias all over there.
This is going to be shocking to hear. There was a point when I was in college, I know, that we watched Aladdin on TV, and it was like, oh, hey, that was kind of fun. And I remember going home like the next weekend.
watch it
And
again.
it was like, what other Disney movies are good? And like there were 4 of them I started watching, and like 10 minutes in was like, this is just terrible.
Which
I
ones
can't
were
watch
you
this
watching?
anymore. Specifically, I enjoyed these as a kid, but rewatching Pinocchio or Peter Pan in your 20s is like, this is not good. They have changed how they do movies, and they just make movies better now.
That would be interesting to go back and watch. Without bias, the Len bias to it.
So no cocaine involved.
With cocaine, with or without. I think with.
That's the now that they have DVD, they have the director's cut that's with cocaine. They got the regular version that's without. So
The cocaine version of both of those would be much more interesting.
I will go with. I mean, maybe this is a spoiler for next week on the list of Stack and Wedding or Stack.
If you snipe this fucking one again, I swear to God.
I hope I do. I'm gonna go with Dumbo.
Oh shit! No.
Oh man, that was the one I was going to say next.
Dumbo was number 4 on the list, so the top 4 to the top 5 have been taken.
It just really
Dumbo,
drives
right?
home that these movies are old. Some of these movies are old.
And they
movies.
re-released them through the years, yes.
Yeah.
I will.
Dumbo, about 5-6 weeks before Pearl Harbor, so good for him. Good for him.
I will
Hold on, are
say-
you saying that Dumbo is the reason for Pearl Harbor? Thanks
I
a lot.
think
I'm
you
not
can-
Jerk
saying he
elephant.
is, but I'm not saying he is.
Think about it.
My column next week.
This is
Oh,
probably
this weird guy that doesn't speak English that flies around and can attack people out of the middle of nowhere sounds really familiar to something else that happened around that point in time.
How Dumbo ruined the world.
This is probably not related to my marriage, but maybe there's another more famous marriage here that could be related to. We'll go Lady and the Tramp.
A horn is a bitch. 1955 is on the list. 5 for 5. 15 up, 15 down. Perfect game through 5.
I've got a few more I can still say, but I'm out of a lot of the incredibly obvious ones. And we're into some that I don't remember as well, or in this case, one that I've never seen, but I remember on whatever VHS Disney tape I'd watched, seeing a preview for this thousands of times. I technically don't know if it was in theaters, but I'm still going with it anyways. I'm pot committed to the bit at this point. I'm going with The Aristocats.
Oh man, great movie.
Yeah,
Where the hell is that?
I don't know what year it came out. Like I said, I've never actually even seen it, but I've seen the preview for it probably 30 times.
I didn't think anyone would remember that one.
1970.
Old movie. Another old movie.
Send that evil butler to Timbuktu.
Bunch of cats here apparently playing instruments. I've never seen it. Barely
know, man. You're missing out.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either. I feel like it's too late to go back and see it now. It's one of those things, if you didn't see when you're 5, it's probably not worth going back and checking out.
Yeah. Marcus.
I had a number of plates, child plates from this particular movie that were in the family's rotation for a very long time. I don't think they're still there.
You actually use these to eat on. These were not just decorative plates.
They weren't decorative. They weren't important enough for us to not use, so we did eat off them. They were plastic, kids' plates. That they were from the movie Hercules.
Hercules.
Well, that's twice that Traxler said the one I was going to use next.
1997.
That was a good one, though, Traxler.
Summer of 97. So they've gone from kind of Thanksgiving, Christmas time to now to the summer.
The blockbuster.
Hercules. That was 97. Right around probably the NBA final just probably wrapped up there, Stacking. Jordan's fifth.
Let's try
without bias.
The Emperor's New Groove.
The Emperor's New Groove. New Groove. This is the last one on my list, Stack, and you're very fortunate.
Wow.
December 15th of the year 2000. 2000. Any movie made after this will not be accepted.
It's out.
I've barely heard of any of the movies after this anyway, so it don't really matter a whole hell of a lot. So that's the benchmark right there.
If this was The Price is Right, Stacking's the closest without going over.
You are. Oh,
showcases. We're not playing cliffhanger here. What are you doing here?
If you had to play a game for your life, that's the game you got to play.
Oh, you know what? That's what we should. I'll think it's
in your life.
In your life.
If I have to play a Price is Right game for my life, I want the one where this is a trip and it's either 45-85 or 85-45. So I have a 50-50 chance.
There's a $4,000 difference between the prices. Which one could it be?
Yeah, or you want the putting one, so you get.
No, I would prefer not.
It's not a hole in one; it's a hole in two. Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. If I missed the first putt, I'd get a second one because I've never seen this show. Oh,
I don't get to watch Price is Right every day, but
shouldn't watch it at all now with Drew Carey.
Wow, what a shot!
Oh, Jesus!
Stackett, who do you hate more, Drew Carey or LeVar Ball?
LeVar Ball. I don't hate Drew Carey. He was awesome on Who's Line
It sure sounds like you hate him right there.
No, I just like.
I'd say he's pretty good at his gig now.
It is. It's very difficult to fill in the shoes of a Hall of Fame.
And Bob Barker's been. He's obviously still living, but has been gone for a long time. He's 98 years old, so he couldn't really be doing the job anymore anyway.
He can still beat the shit out of Happy Gilmore.
Well, yes, etched in time for all eternity.
Charlotte.
Back to me.
Yep.
I believe this was Disney. I know at some point other studios started making animated things more often.
Yeah, what is the policy on that? I mean, are those
Well, I'm just going
counting
off
here?
my list here, so I don't know. Well, if it comes to that, we'll Google and see what
Or no, I mean like not made by Disney, but made by, I don't know,
Pixar or whoever.
or Fox make something or whatever. I think this was Disney. I remember the sequel was called The Rescuers Down Under. I think the first one was just The Rescuers. So I'm going with The Rescuers.
1977. He did it again, folks. He did it again.
Damn it. You just the worst.
Stackin, I've had a couple of mine stolen.
Right.
Stackin's had like, sorry for accidentally calling you Stalin there.
Oh,
Stackin's had like 5 in a row taken.
Down with Stalin.
See, you had to have your World Cup talk, didn't you? You had to have your goddamn World Cup talk.
Paying the price.
Fucking 2-1, 2-2, 1-0, 5-2. All right, Panama, you're up.
Panama.
Do you have any decorative cups? Any silverware?
Panama.
You're up.
I'm up.
Yes, you're up.
Son of a bitch. All right. I didn't expect to have to burn into the VHS collection this early. I figured we'd have a couple people with more trouble.
No.
I will go with Oliver and Company.
Oh, that's a great.
I don't even know what that one is.
The dog. No, it's a cat.
19,
It's about a cat, and yeah.
1988.
30 years later, I probably couldn't tell you what it's about either. But
I'm looking at the picture here. It's there's a dog and there's a cat sitting on a piano that's being hoisted up above the city. There's a bunch of other dogs in there as well.
Yep.
It's like a movie about a bunch of dogs with one cat.
And a girl, and she gets kidnapped, and blah, blah, blah.
Some movie kind of like Oliver Twist, but the animal version of Oliver
you
Twist.
couldn't be any more bored with it.
Thanksgiving of 88. So
I
who on that?
I believe this was in theaters, so I will go The Great Mouse Detective.
Holy fuck, I've never heard of this.
Stackin, that was one I was kind of hoping to hold. That was my super deep money in the bank one.
1986. I have never heard of this film.
It's
I
a
know.
great movie.
I can't say I've heard of it either.
They
There's a big
re-released
dog?
it at some point in the 90s, and I remember going to it with my mom. For some reason, my sisters weren't there, and we were literally the only two people in the movie theater.
All right. So Charlie, we've both sniped one another. So
Re-released in 92. So great. It was July 4th weekend, I assume, of 86.
My recollection is it was a mouse who was supposed to be kind of like Sherlock Holmes investigating someone, and then there was a rat who was way bigger than the rest of the mice. That was the bad guy, and I don't remember anything else about
It's based in London, Basil of Baker Street, and there's a toy maker that the evil rat takes to kidnaps because he has to make this robot queen. So they're trying to dethrone the queen and feed her to a cat, and it's and they're up in an air balloon above London, and it's there's a bat with a broken wing, and he gets tossed.
All right, I'm calling a timeout on this.
That's enough. Wrap it up, dummy.
Could Walt Disney make his own films without stealing from somebody else? And I'm going to
No, I think not all of them, but I think almost all of them were just like they took something from a story from 300, 400, 500 years ago and then just took out the offensive stuff, or at least at the time what was offensive, and then just said, hey, let's make it a cartoon for kids.
We're halfway through. We've gotten done.
Like I'm almost positive Lion King is like Hamlet almost exactly, just taking out some of the bad stuff, and it's with anthropomorphic lions and warthogs and stuff instead.
You gotta love it.
21 down, 19 to go. Charlie.
I don't believe this one's been said. I think someone briefly mentioned it before we started. I think Stackin was singing. I will go with The Little Mermaid.
God damn it. That was another
Good
one.
job, Stackin. Way to go.
Yeah. That's my
1989. 1989, folks. The Little Mermaid.
next one I was going to say. So thanks, Charlie.
Thanksgiving of 89.
You're welcome, Stackin.
Marcus.
Well, I'm absolutely stealing this from Charlie because you just mentioned it. I'll say the Rescue Years Down Under.
Yes,
He did just
1990.
reference that. Yeah.
1990. That's one of those iffy ones where
I didn't know if that was in theaters or not, so I didn't want to risk it with that one.
They had to go down under for the next one.
Yeah, they went to Australia, and I literally remember nothing else about it except it was mice in Australia.
Hacken?
I will go with The Sword in the Stone.
Ooh.
It's a good one.
What's this one?
Not one of my faves. Not one of my-
1963. 1963.
I remember, this is sort of off topic, but related to Sword in the Stone and NBA basketball, is we all know that like it's supposed to be you can only pull the sword out of the stone if you're supposed to be the king of England or whatever. And I think it was Ryan Russillo on ESPN, but it may have been someone else that was saying like about how Russell Westbrook's like just his makeup and design is like if there was a sword in the stone and if you can pull out the stone, you're the king. He'd go and like pull on it all day long and nothing would come out. And he'd be like, well, I guess I'm just going to go home and come back tomorrow because there's like no way he would think that he wouldn't supposed to be the king. He'd just be like, every day I'm just going to keep pulling on it until it comes out and I'm the king. And I thought that was kind of funny.
I don't think I posted it when it happened, but Ryan Russillo had like a good set of tweets about how this is totally off topic, but he was responsible for this. About how Pam was such a bad person on The Office, basically tearing apart both Jim's life and Roy's life, and that was a great tweet. Since we're on the topic of Ryan Russillo tweets, I thought I'd mention that. It does sort of change. It doesn't change the show for me, but that was interesting.
Interesting. Charlie. 16 left is all.
I've got a couple that we had VHS tapes of. I don't know. Well, one of them we had. One of them I saw somewhere else. Don't know if they were in theaters. The one more likely to be in theaters, I think, it's a common story. And I'm trying to think of what it's called because I'm pretty sure it's the same title. It was a cartoon. I don't know if it was Disney for sure, but it was like, see, how specific? Like, do we need to get the title right 100% word for word, or can we get like 85% of it?
If I can figure it out here,
it's either like The Legend of Sleepy Hollow or Sleepy Hollow or something, or The Headless Horseman.
Wow, that is broad. You're casting a wide net.
Let's see. There's a movie here that talk to me more about this movie. What is this?
My recollection is there's a headless horseman and he's got like a pumpkin for a head. And I just remember watching it when I was like 6 years old, and it scared me. And I wish I could give you more information. There's another one that I know the title of, but I don't think it was in theaters. I think it was straight to video.
You can't give him that.
I will give this to him.
That's incredible. This is being played under protest. Under protest.
Why do you have a Los Angeles Chargers shirt on, Marcus?
Because they're my favorite team in the NFL that's only been around for 1 or 2 years.
There's a
How
movie,
far off was I on the title?
Apparently there's a movie from 1949 called The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad. Anybody know what the hell this is?
We're giving him that?
Well, here's what the movie is.
I've vaguely heard of it.
I've never.
And I should say, I didn't own this one. This was just one I remember seeing once. And in my head, it's the Sleepy Hollow story. I didn't know what the title was, though.
I'm just giving you a hard time. I don't care.
The film, the reason why I'm giving it to him, the film consists of 2 segments. The first, based on a child's novel from 1908, The Winds of the Willows, whatever the fuck that is.
That's the Mr. Toad part.
Apparently, the second segment is based on the 1820 short story called The Legend of Sleepy Hollow.
That's just bad filmmaking right there.
I don't know if this is fucking 2 movies in one. I don't know what the fuck it is, but it's good enough for me. So that's what we're going with there. 1949.
Trash effort by Disney.
49. All right. Marcus.
I think I've referenced it on this show
Where the fuck
before.
your glasses come from?
I got them on. I got them
Why
on.
put shades on your face here? You're inside, for crying out.
Well, after he started doing cocaine for the Disney movies, he didn't want it to be obvious. We put
This is
some
the
sunglasses on.
Stevie Wonder part of the show. So I think I've referenced on here before that I had the soundtrack to this movie. So I will say Pocahontas.
Oh man, I forgot all about Pocahontas.
You're welcome, Statham.
Fucking
You're
kidding me?
welcome. You could have said it last time. I don't know. Nobody was holding a gun to your head saying.
No,
it
I know that,
in
but
this
like when
round.
it dawned on me when Charlie was talking about Wills. I was like, oh boy, I could get this one here, Pocahontas. God,
So Pocahontas, am I led to be correct here? Only lived for 22 years.
Oh,
She's not
short
very
life.
old.
It
Yeah.
was
What
no-
a deal.
didn't
What a
live-
deal.
it
well, to be
didn't
fair,
live
this
long.
was in the early 17th century, so
Without bias, the Pocahontas story.
Yeah, she was drafted in the NBA and was dead 3 days later.
It was.
Fell
Stacking?
in love with the guy with the most bland name ever, John Smith.
Feel like it's made up.
not as cool as Jon Snow, who, by the way, got married to his lover in the Game of Thrones. Got married this weekend, so congrats to Jon Snow.
That's too bad.
Kit Harington. Anyway,
Second
let's
stalling
say-
so we can think more.
There's your celeb news for
no,
Now, granted, I'm saying stack installing so we can think more. There have been a lot of times I've talked for like 2 minutes before I came up with an answer, and it was also for that
Put
reason.
them on the
Tommy.
clock.
Stall,
That
I
time
did
the
reference
was all
as
the point.
stalling, and now I'm stalling. So we'll just
Kevin
go.
Stallings without bias.
We'll go with.
Gene Stallings, former Alabama head coach.
R.I.P.
I think this movie is based in a part of the world that almost touches Russia. I think Sarah Palin could see it from her front door. I'll go Balto, or her back deck or whatever.
This is
Here's where I draw the line, Stacking. Balto is where I draw the goddamn line.
2001.
No, I don't know what the hell. Somebody else apparently made this.
What?
Balto. Without bias. What do we got here? Balto would probably live longer than Pocahontas, to be honest with you.
yeah, probably.
14-year-old dog. It was made in '95. Who made this movie?
Are you kidding? It wasn't Disney?
You're done for, Stack. That's it.
God, I should have gone with the first.
I hope I remember this forever. The way Traxler with shades on just went, you're done. That's it.
It was produced by apparently Universal Pictures.
Wow.
So there you go. We'll see. We'll see if we can hang in there, Stack.
I was worried with The Rescuers. I thought The Rescuers may have been made by someone else also.
I only said it because you said it. And so if I went out on that's the risk you take.
We'll go Charlie and Marcus, and then we'll see where we're at here.
I'm down to things I know were made by Disney. I don't know if they were straight to VHS though. I'm gonna go this. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Goofy movie.
I don't think so.
Is that
Well,
count?
let's see. What do we got here? No. Not
Straight to video. Yeah, I thought it.
It
might
was.
be.
It was. I actually did see that in the theater.
I love that movie. That was a great movie.
It's. I got. You got all the movies listed here, and then there's related productions, and it says a Goofy movie, 1995, from Disney Toon Studios.
Wow.
So,
So not made by Big Disney, made by the
That's-
Disney Channel TV stuff
was-
instead.
Down on a technicality.
Rough technicality.
it's not on my. It's on the list of others. So that's a tough one to go out on. Well, we'll see. We'll see what Marcus says.
Understandable. We'll see what Traxler's been saving this whole time.
This is another one on the VHS pile, one that I did not particularly care for. That would be The Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Notre Dame, the Lou Holt story. Summer '96. Yes.
The other two.
Hold up here. I want to give Charlie something. I want to give him another guess.
Okay, all right. Yeah,
Marcus, I'll say you win, but that's a tough one to go.
that absolutely was a technicality. So I don't
That's
have
a
a
tough one
problem
to go on.
with
My other one and this might have also been by the same place, so not by Big Disney Movie Studio. Mickey and the Beanstalk. That was the other one. Where it's Jack and the Beanstalk, but it's with Mickey Mouse and Goofy and Donald Duck instead.
I think you're going out on that one. Was this actually close? Was this actually made by them?
Yeah, we got to talk this over.
This is a
Well, I mean,
technicality again.
clearly
Wow.
it was by some form of Disney because they're Disney characters. But like I said, I don't know. It might have been straight to video, and it might not have been by Big Disney.
I will accept this under the same premise of your previous one. It was another two-part movie.
Wow. Another anthology.
It was something 1947. Or it was.
Oh wow! I didn't realize it was that long ago.
Something called Fun and Fancy Free, one of our favorites. And the second story of it was Mickey and the Beanstalk. So technically, I would accept that part of a deal there. So
Technicality City, or
Not the technical champion, but the people's champion.
I have
and
three.
another stacking. You
I
got another-
want to see these just to stick it in Stacken's craw right here. Tarzan
Oh man, I forgot about
was
Tarzan.
not said. Mulan
1999.
was not said.
1998.
One of my sisters would murder me for not remembering Mulan because that might still be her favorite movie ever.
Mulan is very good.
Involves the Asians. We'll watch it.
That's all I got. That's
Okay,
all I got.
I have a few. I want to see if these.
I mean, what many did we end up with here? 5, 10, 15, 20, 24, 25. We got about 30 of them, man. That's pretty good.
And obviously, some of the ones that we didn't get are probably like the Aristocats that just aren't very good.
There are a few,
Did not make any mark on culture.
I think you got all the big ones. Stacking.
Okay, so was Fox and the Hound? No, not Fox and the Hound. I already said that. Robin Hood.
Oh, where Robin Hood's the fox. I forgot about that one.
Yep, that's in there.
And then that's the one I should have said.
That one I liked. That one, VHS days, we didn't own. We had a blank VHS disc or tape, and we just recorded it off of TV, commercials and all.
And so we were right to stay away from the Pixar movies here, right? I mean, those weren't on the
Those
list.
are not the Toy Stories. Those would not have been accepted.
Okay, that's what I thought. How about this one? Is Return of Jafar on there?
Nope, that would be another VHS. So.
I think only the first Aladdin was in the theaters. All the others were STV, straight to video.
Also, the Titanic would not have been accepted in this.
It's controversial.
Controversial.
What ones did we miss?
The one Michael Moore did on 9/11 was not.
Well, I wouldn't have counted anyways because that's after 2000.
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
Unless it was a prediction, which in that case, I mean, he wasted his time by not trying to stop 9/11.
It was the prequel. It was the prequel.
Fantasia 2000.
Yeah.
Was that on the list?
Did we say Fantasia, the first one?
Yeah, somebody did.
Yeah, Stacken did, I think.
There's something from 19.
I thought Fantasia was straight to video, and then you were like 1948, and I was like, nope, definitely not straight to video. Then
Don't know what this is. This is something from 42. Oh boy, Solidos Amigos. We don't know what that is.
Or
That's
was
a
that
great
the
one.
three, like
Yeah,
vulture
I don't know
birds?
what that is.
Or
Some girl on the title. They continue to give her with the Mexican theme. The three Caballeros in 44. And apparently the Mexicans were excited back in World War II.
That was a big movie.
That's what we're doing. Make Mine Music in 46. Don't know what that is.
Make music great again.
Make it something called Melody Time. Don't give a shit. Probably a big one that was missed. Something called Alice in Wonderland.
Oh, no.
Oh yeah,
Peter Pan did that. Bop, bop, bop.
Alice in Wonderland, the one that shows that animals can smoke cigarettes and stuff like that too.
This one's a tricky one in 77. The Many Adventures of Winnie the Pooh.
That got vacated though.
Got vacated.
Yeah, by the NCAA.
Oh, that's fuck Pooh.
Honestly, I didn't know that Disney had Winnie the Pooh. I thought that was something else.
That was the Black Cauldron.
Oh,
I've heard of that. I don't know if I think I saw it once when I was like 5.
Oh, right. Hercules, Mulan, I think that's all of them. Dinosaur, something called Dinosaur.
Oh yeah, that movie sucked.
Go to hell, Dinosaur. Go to
Wait, is
I
it
remember-
singular or plural?
singular.
Dinosaur. That was one of those that was like a heavily hyped movie, and there was just no way it could deliver.
There were 3 of them in the year 2000, so that's very odd. Because usually they're
turn of the century. We made these movies. We got to get them out. Could be the end of times. So
one
You had to be ready.
one each year basically, and then Lilo and Stitch 2002.
wow.
These current ones: Atlantis, The Lost Empire, something called Treasure Planet, Brother Bear,
All those were terrible.
Home on the Range, Chicken Little, Meet the Robinsons. Is this the Michelle Obama story here? What is this?
Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs has to be on there. And then you have Frozen. You got to have Tangled and
Bolt? Something called Bolt.
yep, with the dog.
Princess and the Frog, something called Tangled, another Winnie the Pooh thing. Wreck-It Ralph,
Yep.
I did see Wreck-It Ralph.
Frozen.
I heard that was good.
Frozen, something called
I kind of
Big-
liked Wreck-It Ralph, but it was because I played a lot of video games as a kid.
I
There's
haven't
a lot of
seen
video game
I haven't
references.
seen a Disney animated movie in a long time. I know for a while Tangled was on Netflix, but I never watched that. So
Big Hero
I sort
6.
of watched Tangled because it was playing on loop when I worked at Sam, so I've not seen it from start to finish, but I think I've seen the whole movie overall.
Something called Big Hero 6.
Yep.
that was about the Michelin Man. Yeah.
And then is Wally in there? Wally's got to be there.
Nope.
That was
Zoot-
Pixar.
Oh,
Zoot-
well, that's Disney
Zoot-
Pixar though.
Well, we're not doing Pixar.
We're not doing that, buddy.
Zootopia a couple years ago. Moana, about the Rock's kid, apparently.
My new favorite thing is Smartass Traxler in shades, just throwing shade at Stack.
Here's one for you. Notre Dame. Bang.
I only put the sunglasses on because I kind of got a thing going on with my eye that's kind of bugging me, and it does help to have the sunglasses on even inside. At least when I'm at home, I try not to do this like out in public, but and so yeah, I feel liberated to throw out my zingers as well. So
I think from now on, whenever Traxler has a hot take, he should quickly put the sunglasses on.
Here it comes.
this is I put the glasses on and I make my best effort to zing the shit out of Stack. So
Mary Poppins was one of the others. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was another.
well, he wasn't
Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
did it.
Kind of animated, but also not
Parts of it
animated.
was. The last one was just Moana, so they haven't had a new movie in almost 2 years.
There's got to be
Next-
one coming here, right? I mean,
The
that's,
next one,
Well,
for
there's
Thanksgiving-
Pixar ones too, though. So
Yeah. This next one is called Ralph Breaks the Internet, so that's
yeah.
just going to be.
Wreck-It Ralph, buddy.
I don't know. And Frozen 2 is next year.
Inevitable that we would have a Frozen 2. So
So for the next 5 Thanksgivings, they're going to have a movie coming out.
wisely.
So and after that,
say what you want about Disney, they know how to market to 5-year-olds.
I would have to look at the list, but I distinctly remember going to see either Monsters Inc. or Finding Nemo like over Thanksgiving. I don't remember which of those 2 movies it would have been, but
I've seen
Uh-huh.
both of those. I didn't see either in theaters.
Monsters Inc. was released late October 01.
yeah, probably Monsters Inc. then.
Possible. Finding Nemo. Find the fish. Finding Nemo, May 30th. So it's probably Monsters Inc.
Great movie though.
There we go. What do we got stacking? We had some weather down here. Very spotty showers, a couple of tornado warnings, a funnel cloud. That was exciting.
Where was that?
Northeast of Mitchell a ways. Nothing close enough for me to shit myself, but good for that. What do we got coming up this week?
Well, we got some thunderstorms that'll be rolling through the overnight hours in Fargo here. Then we got some afternoon thunderstorms tomorrow. Got a it'll be low 80s, upper 70s for Tuesday and Wednesday. And as we look here towards the latter part of the week, we have upper 80s with high pressure rolling into the area. Temperatures will dip back down into the mid 80s for the weekend. A very pleasant weekend to be at the lake.
Classic stacking, wearing the same color as the green screen so that he blends right in and it's just his head. What
No,
an idiot.
I went like this. Yeah, this area too. I mean, the green screen, I'm wearing yellow. There's a reason.
The yellow screen, the piss screen.
Marcus, how's your glaucoma coming? What can we expect?
I think I'll be dead within a few years, but I'll be in the Baseball Hall of Fame very shortly. So, yeah.
I have dibs on the Clemson shirt. So there you go. Charlie, what do you got? The championship next week? That'll be in Sioux City, right?
It'll be in Sioux City if Texas beats Duke City. If Duke City beats Texas, it'll be in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
What's the line on that game?
Over under
Sioux
125.
City by 8.5,
Okay, all right.
regardless of opponent.
Is Iowa going to legalize sports gambling before that championship game?
Not likely.
I doubt it. But if so, actually, I wouldn't bet on it either way. So never mind.
It seems like betting on CIF football is a good way to lose your life savings. So
Yeah, that's a very dark hole to travel down into without any easy climbable ladders to get out.
if you do that, you have a gambling problem. That's just the way it is. So
Bet on some Sun Belt baseball here, folks. Ray Charles, for Jay Trobeck, for Jeff Goodman, everybody involved here. We'll see you next week. Where are we going to be at next week?
inside the sports lounge.